My case for LeBron exists more in a vacuum. He was the best player in the NBA for about 9 years, in my opinion, from 2012 to 2020. But the league was much more talented in his era.
When it comes to LeBron versus Jordan, and your main go-to is, well, the players today are better, that's where you lose me immediately. That's your opinion, that's fine, but can y'all please stop acting like it's a fact that we just have to agree on? I don't think it's a crazy take. I just think it's crazy that you guys expect us to agree with that. So yeah, let's just get this over with.
Let's get into some of these rankings in Bleacher Report's list. So I have LeBron and MJ flipped, but that's really about what you value. If you're asking who had the most dominant career, it's obviously MJ, right? For a decade, nobody could fuck with him. He was far and away the best player in the NBA.
As great as Michael Jordan is and was, if he's 99 overall, a guy like Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem, if they're not 99, they're like 98 or 97. I know a lot of players and a lot of people say this. Michael Jordan was an amazing player. And I think he was better than most players, if not all of them, but to say he's like head and shoulders above everybody, yeah, right. No.
He won 6 championships in 8 years. That's the definition of unassailable dominance, right? My case for LeBron exists more in a vacuum. He was the best player in the NBA for about 9 years, in my opinion, from 2012 to 2020. But the league was much more talented in his era. Just look at the list. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are both very high in this particular list, and they played alongside LeBron James, right?
I really don't understand your argument here. First off, you're only mentioning Steph and Kevin Durant. What about Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant? These are huge competitors that LeBron had to deal with. You're also ignoring everybody Michael Jordan had to go through that are ranked extremely high, like Kareem, Magic, Shaq, Larry Bird, and Hakeem Olajuwon. This is already an extremely unfair and very convoluted argument to try and make, because I don't really like acting as if Bleacher Report is the A-all be-all, but if we're acting as if it is, and we're going off your argument, you're not even being fair to LeBron to make his case, but you're certainly not being fair to Michael Jordan either.
So there wasn't as large of a gap in terms of like pure dominance, but I'd argue we'll never see that again. I
wouldn't be bragging on no shit like that if I were you.
I doubt we'll ever see that again. Yeah, we most likely won't, because hopefully people don't team up the way LeBron and KD did. I hope we don't. I mean, a lot of fans absolutely despise the past few years of NBA basketball, but that is one thing they could hang their hat on, is what, the past 6 or 7 years, we've had a different champion every single year. That's good for the sport. But I have to be honest, I really don't understand, truly don't understand the point he's trying to make here. You named KD, Curry, and LeBron. You doubt we'll ever see what they're doing? What are they doing so magnificent? Competing for championships, or like they're 3 top tier guys? Like, what are you talking about? The 80s was stacked. You got Bill Russell versus Wilt, and then you got Jerry West over there being in like the same amount of finals appearances as LeBron, but they didn't team up the way KD and LeBron did. Or what about Magic and Kareem versus Bird and his team? What is this man talking about?
This thing is starting to give me a headache.
Like, look at Jokic. Nikola Jokic is discernibly better than his peers right now. But that gap isn't even close to how much better Michael Jordan was than Charles Barkley or Clyde Drexler or Hakeem Olajuwon. Really good players, but not the same types of players that Nikola Jokic is competing against, that LeBron James competed against. I think some of that is just the influx of NBA talent.
You are starting to annoy me.
So as amazing as Joker is, everybody he's going up against is just a step behind him, barely. So would you confidently say that about guys like DeAndre Jordan, Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson, Montrezl Harrell, Andre Drummond, Clint Capella, Nick Claxton, Jarrett Allen? Zubac is cool, but he can't shoot threes. They are nowhere near the playmaker Nikola is. Do I really need to keep naming names? Because I don't like doing this, but I'm forced to with this whole everybody's Justice Leaguers and Avengers now. It's simply not true. Rudy Gobert compared to Nikola, those are two different planets. Just like Hakeem versus Dikembe, Dennis Rodman compared to David Robinson. Why don't you just say you're done with the 90s? Either you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what you're talking about. Michael Jordan isn't some 118 overall versus a bunch of 95s and under. They were literally saying Clyde Drexler is better than Michael Jordan after he just won a championship.
Clyde was a threat. You know, I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
Charles Barkley won an MVP over Michael Jordan in their primes. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't most people say that Charles Barkley was the best player on the Dream Team? You go straight to Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler, who would be his second and third finals opponent. But you're going to skip his first finals opponent, which would be Magical Johnson? Does this man not understand that Shaq was drafted 8 years after Michael Jordan? You talk about an influx of talent. 1984 and 1996 are literally referred to as the best draft classes ever. Ever. The draft class, 3 years, before LeBron was drafted, produced 0 Hall of Famers. Not one. Yes, Michael Redd, Jamal Crawford, very good players offensively. But an entire draft class produced 0 Hall of Famers. Yet, Michael Jordan, literally, his draft class had 6 Hall of Famers, but it's really 4. The subsequent year, 5 Hall of Famers. I'm pretty sure we could all agree that Arvydas Sabonis would have been a real Hall of Famer had he arrived younger. But yet all we have to hear is how we're done with the 80s and the 90s. LeBron faced the toughest comp.
You have a single fact to back that up.
And can you please stop acting like Michael Jordan is just a million times better than Hakeem? They are both revered as some of the most skilled and best two-way players at their positions ever.
Play that talk shit to you. Yeah, Olajuwon would do some shit like take his mouthpiece out and say, I'm hitting him with lateral movement. He can't do anything.
Hakeem is one of the only other players like Michael to run the table by getting a finals MVP, regular season MVP, and a DPOY. Not only was Hakeem drafted before Michael Jordan, and nobody doubts or questions that, a lot of people still believe that if Hakeem met Jordan in the finals, Hakeem would have won at least one of those. I almost forgot to mention this. So not only is Hakeem teaching your GOAT moves that He barely applies. It is what it is. Kobe went to him too. That alone shows how great Hakeem the Dream is. But this is Hakeem's take on the GOAT debate.
Jordan is far more superior player and a very, very tough league and very, very, very creative.
Sure.
I mean, that's not taking anything away from LeBron James because he's a great player, but it's not a fair comparison because I think Jordan is much far superior player.
You can call Hakeem the Dream biased all you want, but this dude we're listening to is definitely biased for LeBron.
It's like a plateauing effect, right? It's a big part of why I think Kobe's underrated, which we'll get to in a few minutes. The LeBron case is simple. Out of any player in NBA history, if you were starting a franchise from scratch and you had that player for the entirety of his career, which player would give you the best chance to win the most championships over the course of that player's career? And the answer is LeBron James.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
First of all, he's one of the top 5 offensive engines in the history of the game. I've talked a lot about this concept over the course of the last couple of years, even at lower levels with guys like James Harden or Tyrese Halliburton, right? I even talked about it at a very low level and discount in the form of D'Angelo Russell, a guy who can run action and make the reads that sets up role players with a player sprinting at them or with an opening rather than against a set defender. LeBron is a player that created advantages so consistently that he basically guaranteed you an elite offense. So consistently that he basically guaranteed you an elite offense, irrespective of surrounding talent. Irrespective of surrounding talent. Look at some of the worst rosters that LeBron played with in his prime. The 2018 Cavs, top 5 offense. The 2009 and 2010 Cavs, very defensive loaded rosters, both top 5 offenses. Both top 5 offenses. That was with like Kevin Love and Mo Williams as his second best offensive players. For 10 consecutive seasons from 2009 to 2018, the worst LeBron-led offense was the 2012 Heat that ranked 6th. Every single other offense he led in that stretch was top 5.
You can't say irrespective of teammate help. It doesn't matter who he's playing with, he's going to put up a top 5 offense. But then you also say he was 6th with one of his best surrounding personnel. At the very least, that's paradoxical. I'm assuming you're going off of offensive rating. They weren't 6th, they were 8th. Also, since you said irrespective of talent around him, shouldn't you be able to apply that for his first years with the Cavs or the Lakers? His first 5 years with the Cavs, outside of 2005, they weren't top 10. They were either midi or shitty. The Lakers, it's actually even worse. 4 years of them being in the 20s, no top 10s. And this may be very nitpicky, but you keep saying top 5. The 2010 squad was literally 6th in offensive rating.
Can your dirty ass even read?
And it translated to the playoffs extremely well because he had the size and the strength to hold up under the physicality, and he was versatile. He could attack from so many different spots on the floor and impact winning on offense in so many different ways. He is one of the greats in terms of generating offense in the NBA. And then in the other end of the floor, LeBron was one of the most versatile defenders in the history of the sport.
Another look at that Pat Bear move. He starts and pivots and then a little jump hook and then he's too small. He's too small.
He's smiling at LeBron the whole time.
Here we go. Versatility. Why don't you guys ever have the balls or the gall to say he's one of the best defenders in general? Or the actual best. The man is mid at best at guarding centers, especially the elite ones. Y'all remember when Joker said that when LeBron is matched up against him, it's a mismatch?
Such an eager passer.
obviously, to normal people, that is a mismatch because he's undersized. But then you got all these billions of fans and La Media members, and you got LeBron's corny ass himself saying only Shaq and Jesus Christ can score on him in the post. I realistically don't want to ever hear how great LeBron is as a defender. LeBron hasn't been to a defensive team in over a decade. He was on the Heat. That's his last defensive team. Not first defensive team, any damn defensive team. This is one of the many reasons why he's able to have such great longevity, because he's a lazy-ass player a lot of the time, offensively and defensively. How many AOH compilations do I have to watch of this man wiping his damn jersey and blowing on his hands standing in the corner? How many compilations do we have to see LeBron not getting back on offense or defense?
Whether he was protecting the rim on the back line, like he did in the Spurs series, meeting Thiago Splitter at the rim.
To Kidd. Nowitzki inside to Chandler. Block. Oh, what a block from Wade. A spectacular defensive play.
Or in the Warriors series where he blocked 9 shots over the final 3 games of that 2016 finals.
Nobody cares.
He guarded Derrick Rose down the stretch of the 2011 finals as a perimeter, or 2011 Eastern Conference finals as a perimeter threat. Jamal Murray in the 2020 Western Conference finals, he could be deployed as a perimeter defender. You needed him to rebound. He had 17 playoff games to this point with at least 15 rebounds.
Nobody cares.
He has 6 playoff games with at least 18 rebounds. He's functionally a big as a rebounder when you need him to be.
And about 1 million rebounds for Jordan tonight also. That was his 18th rebound to go with 67 points. He's not finished.
He's 6'9" and can jump out of the gym. He's never averaged double-digit boards for one season. Not one. He's never even averaged 9 boards a game for a season. LeBron got absolutely obliterated by Tony Parker in the finals. And he got absolutely torched by Jason Terry in the finals.
Cutting off. Nowitzki wants the ball. Haslam again. Excellent ball denial. Terry, a long 3. Bang! Jason Terry gives the Mavericks a 7-point lead with 33 seconds remaining. Another big fourth quarter.
Somebody please tell LeBron James the rules. Hand down, man down.
For Magic, what do you expect from LeBron tonight? I want to see him, Stewart, have some fun. Get into his defense, because the key is, can he stop Jason Terry? Can he stop Jason Terry?
To me, LeBron is one of the most overrated defenders for a couple reasons. His inability to slide his feet and apply fundamentals of staying in front of an offensive player, it's quite abysmal. It's hard to watch. It's not just Kuzma pushing him into position.
Should.
Now he does. He'll turn. Gallo. They're going to get a good look. Ooh, they got a great look.
He got a better look than that. I was surprised how open he was.
Him rotating defensively is terrible. 85% of the time, it's Chalmers' fault. It's Austin Reeves' fault. It's Rui Hoochie Mama's fault. It's never his fault. He was actually doing it in the first Cleveland stint era. He's relied on his God-given abilities far too much. He's probably the top 5 at worst most God-given, gifted athlete ever. And you want us to praise him for grabbing rebounds, but not at a super crazy rate. Functioning.
Or if you just need him to make a superhuman transition play like he did to save the 2016 finals.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for Ayton. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
Doesn't give up. Turns, elevates, blocks the layup attempt. That's big time by Giannis.
What a series here in this 2021 NBA Finals here in Game 4.
He's always able to fill whatever defensive role the team needs. And to tie it all together, outside of his decade where he was the best player in the world, there's an entire additional decade and change of him being a top 10 player. He was just, in his 22nd season, 6th in MVP voting and 2nd team All-NBA. He's a safe bet to make an All-NBA team next year, in his 23rd year. That as a franchise, that gives you an additional decade more of chances where if you built the right roster around him, you could win a championship in those years. So to put it simply, there is no player in the history of the NBA that would give you a better opportunity to win more championships than LeBron James. So yeah, I'd flip them and I'd have LeBron at number 1.
You are dreaming, bro. The Miami Heat and the second Cavs and the Lakers, they didn't put great players around him, and he still left? Or currently passive-aggressively trying to leave? I personally do not care if you have LeBron as your GOAT. That's your right. I should respect his wishes. It is not a fact that LeBron is going up against better players. Why would Michael Jordan, at 38 on the Wizards, average more points than a rookie LeBron? That is as close as we get to proof that Michael Jordan would have killed in any era. Not only does LeBron traverse 3 different decades, so does Michael Jordan. LeBron has played with the most teammates ever, over 3 different decades, yet he never has enough help. But he also played in the toughest eras and the deepest talent pools. Something's wrong there. LeBron James literally said his era was watered down. And if certain teams could get a player like Kevin Love, it would shrink the league. What's worse, a watered down expansion era or a shrunken league?
What you think? You tell me. You tell me.
Michael blocked by Artest. Oakley to Mercer. Mercer on the run. Oh, what a play!
If there's any beef, I come round like Mercer.